All right, everybody, welcome to the Fastest 40. We've got a special guest sitting here with Trey and I at the Atlas Saloon. Nate Herron, Chiefs PA announcer, also announcing for pretty much every other local sports.
Everybody in town but the Royals at this point.
Right? We got the Comets, the Kansas City Current. Love everything they're building over there. So awesome you get to be a part of that. And then, of course, the Kansas City Monarchs, where I got the first opportunity to work with my friend Nate here. So I feel like this has been long awaited. I've wanted to ask you about this for a long time, so I appreciate you coming out and meeting us here at the Atlas Saloon to record the show.
I love Excelsior Springs. I haven't been up here in a while, and they've got more beers you can shake a stick out up here. So I'm looking forward to sampling just enough I can get back to K7 on the Kansas side later tonight.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got to make sure we get this guy home safe. Trey, man, I mean, we've gotten an opportunity to hear several of his calls in the stadium, whether it be, Kansas City Chiefs first down or what have you.
Well, I'm going to stop you there. The Chiefs are unique in the National Football League because the Chiefs have two PA announcers.
Okay.
They have Dale Carter, who's been there for better part of 2 decades, and he's the one that does first down, catch by, carry by, all that stuff. I do everything else.
Love it.
So, when it's time for the national anthem, Jim Nance has introduced me twice by name, which is super exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Al Michaels did earlier this season. Unfortunately, that was a moment of silence for Israel and Gaza and all that stuff, which is not great. Like, I got Al Michaels to put on the reel. Maybe not.
Never mind. Get that one back.
Yeah. So they're the only team, to my knowledge, that does 2. So I don't want to steal any thunder, but at some point
that'll be you.
Very cool. I would hope. I really enjoyed my short time with the Chiefs.
I love it.
Just another thing that makes the Chiefs unique, right there.
And they've been doing it that way for almost 30 years. Arrowhead Stadium has not had many primary public address announcers. They had Dan Roberts, who announced for the T-Bones as well. We had the Dan Roberts Memorial PA booth where the T-Bones now the Monarchs play. But after Dan was Dale. So there hasn't been a lot in the history of the team. And at some point, Dan said, I don't want to read this Mountain Valley Springwater stuff anymore. And they started bringing in some other guys. And I replaced my good friend Brian Truda, who did it for, double-digit years.
Yep.
But, he got a Super Bowl ring with them. And now I got one last year. I started in the middle of the 21 season.
Okay, so you almost had a chance at that second one. That's
right there. But I was very excited to be out at the game indoors where you were. We used to be outside, up on the 9th floor there in the press box.
Yeah.
And normally, if you're a PA guy, you want to hear the natural sound.
Yeah.
And it gets cold up there with the window open, and the DJ and our sound techs. Steve Serrano's still over there, and their window was open the whole game.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was 2 doors over. I got sick right after Thanksgiving, and today is the first day I felt normal. I almost didn't get through the Dolphins game, and I didn't do much work. I went through so much hot tea and honey, and then coughed like I had coal miner's lung and Legionnaire's disease all in one. So,
how long did you have to drink that tea before it was like an ice block? Because I know I got a hot chocolate at the stadium, and it was chocolate ice cream by about the time I got back to the seat.
So they moved us last season to a different booth. We're right next to the concussion protocol people, so we can see everything they got going on in their booth just to the west of us.
Yeah.
And then it's the penthouse area, which is up there.
Yeah.
And we're enclosed. I was cold, but I didn't have a coat on, but I had, thermal socks and insulated boots, and I was
sweating a little bit.
Close to. I was here and there. Now I think part of that was the antibiotics and all the drugs. I mean, I went to the hospital 4 times with this thing. I had like a double lung infection, and when you talk for a living, that can get scary.
Yeah,
and it's back. My voice is a little lower than it was before.
Yeah,
the power's not quite back, about 90% now. But I missed 3 Comets games.
Oh man,
which really hurt.
Yeah.
But, knock on wood, we'll be back. So this is my first time on a mic.
Comets have been on a little bit of a run too.
Comets have been fun to watch. They were down in Mexico. I did not fare well in Mexico.
Were they in Monterey?
Monterey and Chihuahua. Or not Chihuahua. Oh gosh, I can't remember There's 2 different teams they play down there, and it's always an adventure when they go south of the border. It's also an adventure when they go to Baltimore.
Right.
So, they play on similar sized fields, which are, I think the Baltimore Blast field is roughly the size of this room here at the Atlas Saloon. So
gracious.
But I'm more focused on the Baltimore Ravens this week. Although I really wish we'd been playing the Texans.
You and me both, brother.
Yeah. I was kind of looking forward to like a Cleveland game.
We knew that wasn't going to happen.
Joe Flacco was rooting.
Would have been a good story.
It would have been a great story.
I love the National Football League. There's no organization I'd rather be more of a part of than the NFL. It's someone I've loved since I was a kid. I grew up a Steelers fan, so I loathe the Ravens, who are really the Browns. Let's be honest. And then the new Browns, and I don't want to call or cast aspersions, but there's going to be something this offseason. I got to believe. You look at their stats for their defense, home and road, they were number 1 in almost every metric at home.
Yeah.
And on the road, they were dead last. Something
is going to give.
I just watched some old videos of my kids waving terrible towels around. I was talking about, deflated balls and the cheating Patriots from 8 years ago. I don't know what it is, but something doesn't smell right in Cleveland, and I know that's normally the case just in general with the Cuyahoga.
You just look at the river,
So, but Pittsburgh and Kansas City are incredibly similar sports towns, and the way that we consume sports. Now, obviously, they have the Penguins,
right?
But, the Pirates and the Royals have a lot more commonalities than I think we would like for them to have.
Yeah. The down years, I think, being the big one.
Or some people call them the years.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun to start rooting for the Chiefs, and I mean, they pay me, which helps. But I own more Chiefs stuff now than I ever imagined would be possible. It's super surreal. And now I've got a Chiefs Super Bowl ring to wear as well.
That's got a big part to do with it too.
That helps immensely.
No kidding.
So you still traveling out, and still Pittsburgh fans, still traveling out seeing a game? Or?
We try. I got 2 little kids.
Acrisure
Stadium. It's always going to be Sandstone / Heinz Field, whatever.
Yeah, right.
I saw a picture this morning on one of the social media groups I'm on of when they were building, because they built Heinz Field and PNC Park simultaneously.
Oh, wow.
And I was at the groundbreaking for Heinz Field. I worked at a Methodist church camp in Ohio, which is a completely other podcast we could talk about. That would definitely be NC-17. But I finagled it so we could have sports camp that week.
Yeah.
We went and saw a Pirates Phillies game, I believe it was.
Okay.
I saw Jason Kendall like 2 days before his leg exploded. That was a lot of fun.
Gosh.
But to see those 2 stadiums built while Three Rivers was still standing, and they were so close together. It kind of reminds me a little bit of what Kansas City's going through now. And we got, the new current stadium, CPKC Stadium down on the river. And, all the talk about the Jackson County Sports Complex and all that sort of things. The only thing consistent is change. So
that's one thing you can count on, I think, for sure.
Yep.
I think I saw something earlier today that they had 2 voters swing back the other side to overrule that veto that came down the line.
Yeah.
Hoping all I wanted for us here in Kansas City is an opportunity. Like I don't live in Jackson County. I don't think any of us do.
Me either.
But I just want the fans to have an opportunity to vote on that. I think is the biggest thing, and an opportunity for us to have a say, a true say. In what happens with these teams,
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of the Chiefs. I'm a big fan of Frank White too.
Yeah.
We work with Frank.
I love Frank
and
White.
I think he felt like he was doing, his due diligence, and I think everyone would like to know a little more information. But at the end of the day, sports are. I mean, they're super important to me. They're not important to everybody. I think they can be an economic driver and have a big impact. On cities. I know going to other cities and seeing downtown baseball stadiums makes a lot of sense. I'd say much more than football does, just with the sheer number of dates and whatnot. But we're hoping for Jackson County's sake and for Kansas City's sake that things become a little more clearer
Yeah.
before the elections come out. But that's
Please.
definitely been. I've been asked so many times about. I was like, guys, I don't know. I know nothing. I see nothing.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. I'm still very much in the just happy to be here
Right.
stage with the Chiefs. So
Smile and wave stage.
100%, 100%. But it's led to some fun. This 2023. I mean, we started with the Chiefs red hot in the postseason, obviously winning the Super Bowl, and then out of the blue, I got a call from the National Football League and ended up emceeing the red carpet at the draft and got to be a part of that process. And,
Very cool.
Announce C.J. Stroud and those guys and saw all their parents and some of the guys who didn't get drafted that first night. That was
right.
interesting. A lot of weird get-ups, a lot of interesting stuff.
They put the, it's very fashion forward there. We'll put it that way.
And that is so, I mean, clearly, this is a nice, I have a Christian Okoye Tecmo Bowl shirt on. This is about as nice as I would normally get.
Yeah.
When they do those, like, the drip reels on social media, and I know that's the thing now.
Oh, yeah.
I just have to realize that's not for me. It's not for me.
Sure.
I don't understand it. I don't like saying the word drip in any context, let alone, what's the fit? I'm like, if I ever say fit, I've had some sort of
you're angry about
cerebral. Well, too. But I have a funny story to tell you about the Super Bowl ring. So I said I have 2 little kids, and that's the main reason we haven't traveled around a lot. Now this March, we are going to take them to Vegas to go see a Vegas Golden Knights game.
Oh, very cool.
Which I'm very excited.
Yeah,
They've never been to an NHL game.
Yeah.
And I've been to a couple VGK games. Did you
follow the Penguins growing up?
No, just Steelers.
Okay.
Like, a man can only handle so much pain and suffering, even as a child. So it was Steelers, and then Royals, and I love Bo Jackson. So I remember when he went down that Bengals game, I cried.
Yeah.
I remember crying. Which, let's just talk about it right now. Them showing that guy crying in the stands, the Bills fan.
Yeah.
My wife was very upset with me because I cackled like, I am 100% pro showing adults crying in the stand. When ESPN shows the kid in the stands crying at a basketball game or something, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Between that and the Little League World Series being televised, those are tantamount to child abuse. But show me the Yinzers crying. Show me Chiefs fans crying. I mean, if you're crying, it means something to you. Now, because of the prevalence of sports betting, did he have his house bet on this? What's going on? I just crying. I cried when the Steelers won Super Bowl 40.
I cried when we won 54 for the Chiefs, and I honestly, this is a good point to really talk about this, because showing that fan just brought me back to those days where it was super frustrating to be a Chiefs fan, where it was like, when are we going to break the ceiling, win a playoff game?
Yeah. And
it was just like all of those frustrations would amount to that. And I was actually talking to my wife about it and brought it up to her. I was like, you know what? Like, there could be a deeper story here with that, where that poor fan maybe has someone that's close to him that's never seen a Bills Super Bowl.
100%.
And football is a catalyst for them. And that's just like triggering all these emotions for the guy.
It can be anything as important and salient of emotion as that, or it could be the other side, which is I'm completely hammered. I've done more mushrooms than the Smurfs have, and I think that I am storming the beach at Normandy, and I'm seeing everyone killed around me. Who knows? But because Buffalo, Buffalo has been talking all these years. Oh, we just got to get Mahomes up here. Okay, you got it. Yeah. And they couldn't do it. And I'm looking at that team, and God, they got talent
all over
everywhere.
Yep.
And
deep talent.
If I gotta wonder, are they calling up Harbaugh's? Are they calling up, the hoodie? Are they? If I'm a coach that's established and wanting to make a move, that's a team where they got all the pieces.
They're prime.
That being said, Stephon Diggs. I don't know if I want to deal with him or not, but I feel for the Buffalo fans. You finally got what you wanted. You didn't get the 1 seed, but you still had the home game at Highmark, whatever it is.
Right. It's a new name every year, I feel like.
And you just couldn't shut the door. And playoff Pat, I mean, it's not in Kansas City, but it's still the Mahomes Invitational at this point. I mean, 6 for 6. I hope Chiefs fans, and I'm trying to do the same thing. It's easy to say, you really need to enjoy this, really need to savor it, but we got to understand the rarefied air that the Hunt family and that, our GM, Coach Reed, Spags has been coaching out of his mind this season. I got to see him and talk to him at MVS's charity softball thing over the summer.
Yeah.
And seeing the defense kind of coalesce around him and seeing if I had told you before the season started, our defense is going to play, and I'm going to list out all the stats, and they're going to be 3/4 as good as what they've actually been.
Right.
You would have taken that, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Hands down.
It's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the last 2 postseason games, I mean, you look at Oliver there, their defensive lineman for the Bills. I'm pretty sure I heard after the game was over, that's the first game since 2021 where he had 0 pressures.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's incredible. And that's a testament
is.
to the offensive line and the coaching and buying into the system. And, no team is perfect. No team is bulletproof.
Right.
But if Bass has really been getting death threats, that's a problem because, number one,
you hate to see
even if he makes that kick, which I said that was a long kick. Yeah. That was not an easy one.
Yeah. Right.
It was not a Norwood chip shot. I remember the first wide right.
It's not 91 here. This is
that's a real shame. And there's a lot of blame that can be pointed around if you're a Bills fan to what happened. But just proud of being associated with his team and all they've accomplished and the role they play in our community. And just looking forward to doing a lot more of it.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all.
It's incredible.
Yeah, something we were talking about before the game or before we started here about the O-line. So I keep track with Mitch Schwartz on specifically Twitter, and he's always breaking down film, specifically O-line, and he breaks it down so well, right?
Right.
He's fresh out the game, and he was breaking down Trey Smith and even Allegretti coming in, after Joe Tooney went down, and I mean the way our O-line played, and it's tough to see when you're watching from your couch, right? Or for you, it may be tough to see when you're primarily calling deep shots from Travis Kelce or whatever it may be. But that O-line played phenomenal ball, and it's something that doesn't get spoken about really enough.
Yeah.
People that talk about the
Got
Chiefs,
to tip your cap to Andy Heck right there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything he's been doing. I forget which player I was listening to, but he was talking about the back and forth between what Andy Heck and what Andy Reid do in installs. So Andy Heck will install the run game plans and work through that with the team. Hey, this is what we're going to call in these situations, how we're going to attack these gaps and run the game plan, basically.
Yeah, sure.
And then Andy Reid comes in with the screens, and with both of those guys kind of working in tandem, they just captivate the room, and you can tell that everybody's truly getting bought in.
Mm-hmm.
And that just separates you so much. I think between those two, and then on the other side of the ball with Spags and Joe Cullen now on the defensive line, we've had him for 2 years, been top 2 in sacks in those 2 years. Having both of those guys on that side of the ball, we just really have such a good organization, just top to bottom, because you mentioned the Hunts as well. They're committed to Kansas City long term and for the rest of the existence of this team and carrying on the legacy of Lamar as well.
Yeah.
And so I think everything that they're investing in our community, as well as what they're pushing top down, you're getting to see it firsthand, which is so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just been phenomenal that we've created this machine in the NFL.
And when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to really appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Unless you unfortunately hold the mirror up and think about all the years of who was the quarterback that year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know who the punter was. Like, and every team goes through. Look at what New England's got right now. Do you think 10 years ago they thought that this kind of season was possible if they had, the hoodie there?
Right.
No, I mean, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
So, but the story's gonna tell you about the Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So, I got the ring right before the Browns preseason game. The players all got their rings. This is a step down version, and that's totally fine because I haven't torn an ACL. I haven't. I banged my shin on a chair at one point in time. I was pretty rough. Had a
Workers' comp.
a little bit, but it's really neat to be able to have it and share it and show it to people and have them take pictures and hold it. And
Absolutely,
I love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I got a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old, but they were 8 and 7. I guess they were 9 and 7 at that point. And the ring came in. My wife was out of town. I said, "All right, boys, we're gonna go out and celebrate. Just the three of us. Just us Herron boys. You guys can pick anywhere you want to go eat. Anywhere? Yes, anywhere. What if it's fancy?" I said, "Even if it's fancy, we're celebrating. How often does your dad get a Super Bowl ring? How often do we get a Super Bowl ring?"
yeah.
So they picked out this little restaurant down in Olathe. It's a Michelin star rated restaurant. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. Golden Corral. Have you heard of that place?
Yeah.
Hey, they did a lot to earn that star.
That's the place they picked. And we're sitting there, and dinner's about wrapped up. And my oldest looks at my youngest, and I'm sitting there, and says, Coach Patrick, the Chiefs need to win another Super Bowl so we can just have a ring when Dad's dead. Like, guys, I'm sitting right. I'm not. I'm in the early 40s.
I'm doing some estate planning for you right now.
I don't know. So, Dale Carter, he's got 2.
Yeah.
Set with me, and he'd like a 3rd. I'd like a 4th and a 5th and a 6th.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just win it every year.
Well, you're collecting rings at this point. How many? You got 2 Monarchs, a T-Bones,
3, a T-Bones, 2 Monarchs. Yes, Chiefs. Got real close with the current in the 2022 season.
Didn't FC Casey get one?
They did, but that was right before I started working for them. And the sad story with that one is my first game I ever worked as the primary guy for them. We did it at Children's Mercy Park, and they got their rings, and they were misspelled. They spelled the league wrong on the rings, and I'm like, "Welcome to the professional sport."
Oh no!
I mean, I've been doing Comets games at that point, but doing the NWSL games was to me kind of a step up in exposure. I mean, and that league now is leaps and bounds over where they were back when I first started with FCKC before they went off to Utah. All you need to do is look at the media deal they signed with, because they were on Paramount Plus and CBS, that sort of thing. The very first game, the home opener at CPKC Stadium, is going to be on ABC National in March. So I'm ready for it.
I'm kicking myself for not getting on the season ticket train.
There'll be opportunities
when there was some available.
Yeah, there'll be opportunities. I think single game tickets and that sort of thing. But that's going to be a hot ticket to get in town. And and it's not just soccer that's going to be down there. The Long family that primarily own the team, along with Brittany and Patrick Mahomes. They've made an investment in Kansas City. They've made an investment in women's sports. And I couldn't be prouder to be associated with that group either, because, as someone who married, an athlete, my wife was, scholarship athlete in college, and, it's important for her as a grown woman to see that. It's important for my boys to see me. I mean, it's most important for little girls that are my kids' age now, because they're coming into a world, especially if they live in Kansas City, where that's just going to be the norm. Well, women's sports is always on TV, and women's sports, they always had a sold out stadium, and they had their own stadium. Sure, Manchester just announced this week over in England, they're building the first purpose built training facility for one of their women's teams. Kansas City was the first to the plate, and that's mostly due to Chris and Angie Long and Brittany and Patrick.
I love that.
It's an interesting partnership with CPKC for the naming rights to the stadium, and they keep announcing local vendors, food and beverage. I mean, if you like Boulevard, you like Joe's Barbecue, good ice cream. They had a new ice cream partner just announced today. They're putting James Beard level restaurants into the stadium. It's
beautiful.
And I don't go to sports to eat. Sometimes I go to drink, a little bit.
That's a small fraction.
I do a lot less of that than I did when I was younger. That's for sure. But it's just I'm really excited to be in Kansas City, and we got the World Cup coming to town.
Man.
Yeah, huge.
And
Messi's
the work
coming to town.
And I just saw a story. Messi played in Texas last night, I think in Dallas. Then I may be wrong.
I'm not
one of the
following it
Texas
close
teams
right now.
and the stadium was like half empty.
What?
Really?
For Messi. I'm like, we're playing at Arrowhead. I don't know if it's gonna be a sellout, but it's certainly gonna be.
It's gonna be pretty damn close.
And we've had some big soccer crowds for international matches there. I remember
we're such a hub.
Oh yeah,
soccer.
Yeah.
Especially on the women's side. That's something I'm super excited. I have a daughter on the way, so her getting to grow up with that team here is going to be such a huge thing for her, and that's why I'm kicking myself because I wanted me, her, and Megan to be able to go out there and enjoy that. But to get back to that point, there's no way in hell that we're not going to be 90% full in Arrowhead when.
Yeah, I think so too. It's already a huge conversation in town. When this game is going to happen, how do I get my tickets, and when do they go on sale? I mean, we were just talking to Hudson about this.
Yeah.
Trying to get tickets from Strato. So, I mean, I think I do expect Kansas City to show a little bit more. I mean, just looking at the soccer culture here in town compared to maybe Dallas or wherever they were, I think a little more built up here than
well, St. Louis always wants to dig at Sporting, the soccer capital of the world and all that sort of thing. Soccer capital of America, not the world, but America. And man alive, Sporting, their playoff run, just chef's kiss.
It was beautiful.
Number 1 seed. And I know I'm friends with Joey Zanaboni, who I'm not sure if you were around baseball when he's the play-by-play voice for St. Louis's MLS team.
Okay.
And he's a new breed of announcer. He's the guy that's always on Sports Center, like doing like Taylor Swift references on goal calls and home run shots and stuff like that. Very kind of Savannah Banana-y.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
a little gimmicky, but that's
it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
But and I certainly wasn't mine when I first met him and first heard him, and now it's like I'm all for it because sports is changing, and back then he was doing baseball, and baseball needs a little jolt of youthful energy, and I would argue that there's not every market, not Kansas City, but there are soccer markets that need a little youthful jolt of energy, and there's National Football League markets that need a little jolt.
Oh yeah.
In their game presentation, and that I would put Kansas City's game presentation. You got the radio side with the Chiefs radio network, and you've got Mitch and the whole team.
Yeah.
For my money, one of the best productions of any NFL play-by-play crew, and with satellite package. I have a lot of weird hobbies. One of them is I love listening to other teams' radio crews do things. It's just everyone is just so wildly different than what you're accustomed to hearing at all points in time. Now, you listen to an Arizona Cardinals game, and it's just like, are these two ever going to stop bitching? Oh, my God. And what's interesting about that broadcast is the analyst for the Cardinals broadcast, his brother is the analyst for the Steelers broadcast now. And to hear the two of them talking, both linemen playing, it's just interesting. The technical production is great.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the Chiefs are already really super established on the radio side, and I would argue even before working for them with a 65 TPT, toss power trap. I have to keep explaining to my kids that was a play. It's not a trap that you catch people in. It's a trap play. It's the only play I liked running in high school as a center was a trap play. But when you've got 60 some odd thousand fans in the stands, it's a TV sport.
Yeah.
It's a TV sport, and there's a lot of downtime and a lot of breaks, and we got to fill that time. And sometimes it's going to be entertaining. Sometimes it's going to be to lift the crowd back up if something bad has happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's going to be to kind of chill them out a little bit. And Brad, my boss, Kristen Pugh and Rob Alberino and David Kelsey, all those guys, they are true professionals. And to see, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
So Rob Alberino is a vice president level with the Chiefs, and he's above everyone in my department. But on game day, he kind of takes a back seat. He and I don't know the technical term because I'm just an idiot that talks on a microphone, but he directs the replay crew, the ones who show the replays on AeroVision.
Oh, wow.
In the stands. And I'm in a different room than them, but we all have comms headsets on, and Brad, my boss, keeps my channel open all the time because I like hearing what's going on.
Sure, yeah.
I remember the second game I ever worked, a full game, he turned my comm off somewhere in the third quarter, and I'm so in my head and nervous, and so I'm like, are you mad at me? Like, I didn't know what to. Why?
I'm in the doghouse.
Like 100%. He's like, oh, I just turned you off. But the first game I ever worked, I have two stories from that day, and I didn't actually work them. It was a Cowboys game. They had hired me the Monday before we had the Cowboys at Arrowhead.
You said midway through 21.
Yeah. I show up, and they sent out a call sheet. So production, every team you work for, it'll list technical director, PA, all replay, all that sorts of stuff. My name wasn't on it. And I was like, I wonder if they're just going to have me kind of watch.
Shadow a little bit.
Yeah, shadow. They didn't say anything about it. I show up and you're going to be very happy with me, but we're just going to have you watch today. I'm like, I actually kind of assumed that's what you're going to do. They're like, oh, okay, well, good. Sure. And I'm really thankful that they did that because I got to see the machinations behind the scene. Anna Tompkin, who directs all the replay stuff, for AeroVision. Got to see what she does, and got to see what Rob and his crew do. So there was a play, and I think it was Tyreek Hill, but one of our players went into the Dallas bench third quarter, and it was a face mask, got pulled down to the ground in the white paint.
Oh man!
Go to commercial break. No flag was thrown. Our team's going ballistic on the sideline. The fans are going crazy. And all I'm doing, I'd spin my chair around. I'm watching Rob Alberino say, give me one, give me Thunder, give me. They had these different names for all the different channels. He's like, now play it back, now hold it. And it was like the Zapruder film. They were doing this on the fly, showing it over and over on the screens.
Get the fans pumped up.
Come back. Yeah. Not only get the fans pumped up, they come back to commercial break. Wouldn't you know, a 15-yard personal foul. Now, I'm not sure that's how it's supposed to work.
Right.
But it was really impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Like I have goosebumps now just thinking about that moment because I get charged up by that kind of thing. Like presentation where you can have a material impact on the game is important. The fun story from that game is we're clear off to the east end of the top of the press box. So we're back, by the end zone, all of us.
Yeah.
There's one window on that level that opens. And that was the booth that we were in back then. That's where the DJ is and the sound guys and all that. They feed us very well at Arrowhead. We never go hungry. I've not lost weight working there. Cowboys game, halftime. The tradition in the press box is it's almost always hot dogs, brats, and chicken fingers. For us, for Jim Nance and Tony Romo, for the all the media fatties up in the press box, everybody gets the same thing at halftime. There's usually a nice meal before, and then that's what you get. We have our own setup because a lot of us have maybe 90 seconds to a minute and a half, or that's the same amount of time. I'm not a math genius. Maybe 5 minutes. The entire game to be away from our station, to go to the bathroom, to get a drink, to get something to eat.
Yeah.
So they put food aside for us. For whatever reason, that game, they didn't put food out. And the replay guys are pissed. And, they're not pissed. They're just like, grumbling. So I'm like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, do you guys want me to go get food? They're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm Nate. Get chicken. Get honey mustard. So I've got a credential on. I've got a comm set up. So I'm an official schlub. I walked down to the press area, and one of the chafing trays of chicken fingers is completely gone. The other one's got quarter full. So I get 2 plates out, I pick up the tray, and I dump them onto just these plates.
Load them up.
I wish I could show you the picture. Excuse me. I hear this pissed off sounding grunt from across the way, and I look up, and Ed Werder from ESPN is giving me the biggest stink eye you can possibly imagine, taking all the chicken fingers. And I do what any self-respecting dude in his early 40s would do. I go, and I just run down the hallway. Came out. Some of my friends
Checo style.
I wasn't running angry, but I was running definitely traipsing down the hallway. I would not have converted any first downs with my gait. But apparently he stood there and just bitched about it for about 5 minutes afterwards. So that was my first ever day on the job.
That's funny.
With
There he is, the chicken
Yeah,
dude.
chicken tender guy, you. I've seen him a couple times, and I always try to avoid to make eye contact. But then the very next game was Sunday night football versus the Broncos, and just hit the ground running. And it's been a thrill to be involved and kind of be an ambassador, an emissary. I like to entertain. I like to get people going. And last game, even as sick as I was the first time that Brad Young and Rob and Kristen came to me after our production meeting and said, "Hey, it's brutal cold outside. We want you to try to vamp up some sort of like thank you to the fans." Everything that I read there is incredibly scripted. Everything. Yeah. And it should be, probably. Yeah. It's not a AAA baseball game.
Yeah.
It's not a Comets game where I'm allowed to pretty much say whatever I feel like.
Improvisational.
Oh, a lot. I mean, that's the background I come from. And they're like, we're looking for someone a little rah-rah, a little cheerleader, thank him for doing stuff. We don't have a lot of opportunities to do that because you can't really do a thank you fans after, the Hy-Vee grocery bag shuffle. That's kind of weird.
After you hand out a bunch of water bottles.
I'm looking at the script. I'm like, okay, we've got our Hellsberg hug cam. Mm-hmm. That could be a good opportunity to do it. Or we got the Bud Light cheers cam. Well, we did the hug cam really early, which is a whole other conversation I get into because that game was on Peacock. The commercial breaks were way shorter, way short, especially in the fourth quarter. We were looking at like 90 seconds, which I'm told is a minute and a half.
For the guy watching at home.
Yeah, and also, frankly, I think the flow is better. I think the NFL is kind of maybe experimenting with sort of that sort of thing. Oh, yeah. As long as the NFL exists and is the sport it's going to be, they're going to have those commercials. It's the lifeblood of the industry. Yeah. I mean, it didn't get to be the $1 billion industry it is without that sort of thing. But I just finally was like, okay, we missed the Hellsberg hug cam, and I'm still feeling like crap. I'm coughing every other 20 seconds, and we get the Bud Light cheers cam, and I'm just like, hey, I was like, okay, this is your, just do it, because they wanted me to write out what I was going to say. I'm like, if I write it out, it's not going to sound authentic.
Yeah.
And you may remember even this happening. I was like, folks, our friends at Peacock and NBC told us this is the coldest game in Arrowhead history.
I do.
It's the fourth coldest game, and I'm like, whatever you're grabbing, grab a Bud Light, grab a drink, grab a neighbor. Salute to you, Chief fan. I mean, from the players, the staff, all sorts of stuff, and the crowd just roared. Yes. And that's the first time I've had a read where they roared in a positive fashion, as opposed to the Raiders game with Carl Cheffers in 2022, where I was talking with Dale Carter and Ralph Saceda, our spotter, who I love Ralph. Ralph's been there forever. Ralph does he spots for a lot of Big Ten broadcasts as well.
Very nice.
And I'm like, the fire exit's just right here to the right. If we need to take the stairs down, right?
This might be the safe way to get out of here.
So the league requires that we do different sorts of reads at different places throughout the game, recording policy, behavior, all those sorts of things. And there's Arrowhead's a safe and welcoming place for everyone, no matter who you cheer. I do that read during that Chiefs game in the second half. I hear people screaming, and I'm just like, "Mama, amazing!"
I couldn't speak for days after that game.
That was
for days.
When he cracks the mic open and his voice is like shaking. Like I have a lot of sympathy.
There's a foul.
I'd be doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd be hey, that's Nate Herron. Remember the side judge that pissed himself during the NFC Championship game? I just, the rules that they have to call and enforce, like they had, like during the Chiefs game, the Bills game, the player swatting the ball out of bounds. Yeah. Now that is Franco Harris, Steelers classic, swat it through the end zone, get a first down, touchdown, all that sort of thing. They were saying on the broadcast, man, I haven't seen that called in ages. And I'm sitting there trying to figure out what the call is. And like, well, did it go forward? Well, it clearly went. He directionally battered it. Yeah. That's the rule.
Batting.
Yeah, right.
How many different rules do these guys have to know? And they've got to be able to call them on the spot. And then because of instant replay and television, which is what makes it such a great product, you're instantly getting
scrutinized
every play.
Yeah.
And it's a thankless job. Yeah. we don't have any Angel Hernandez type refs in the NFL necessarily.
Yeah.
People can complain about whatever they want. People
Right.
want to focus on one thing, but that's got to be a really hard job.
Oh, yeah.
Really hard. I wouldn't want to do that at the high school level.
No.
You know,
I did
it's
it
a lot of
for
pressure.
third graders, and you got parents on the sidelines giving you,
Oh, yeah.
it's
Giving you the finger.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think part of that, though, like for officiating, it's fun for the fans now to have an enemy, no matter who we're playing. Right.
It's booing Gary
Yeah.
Bettman. It's booing Roger Goodell.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's what's expected. I would say
Mhm.
Bettman started that, but with the NHL, but now booing Goodell at the draft is like the thing that you do.
He loves it.
He understands. He's also compensated quite well.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Please shower me with your tax deductible.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just I want to know what I was outside after the game for. I'm going to liberally say a minute and 10 seconds because we have a little shuttle bus that drives us back to the practice facility. And sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's quicker just to walk.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, it was Hoth out there. I had this little spot above my eyes exposed to the air. I had the hood on, the gloves, everything, but this little spot right here was exposed, and I swear I had a headache for 2 hours. It's like I had a railroad spike. How the hell did you go and sit out there that entire
I got to tell you, first I want to say this. I do remember you making the call for the fans for the coldest game.
Well, good.
And I'm there with my brother and my cousin, and I said, "Yeah, Nate." Just so you know, that did leave my mouth. So that first of all. Secondly, layers on layers on layers and multiple trips to the bathroom without even taking a piss.
But it sucks to go like you go skiing, and it's like you're doing that mental calculus of I could go and spend 40 minutes unbuttoning and unfastening everything, or I could just pee my pants and I'll be really warm and then I'll freeze. I remember watching Dumb and Dumber. I remember how that goes. I can't pee my pants, but for looking down, we have a great view of the sections that we're over.
Yeah.
And every tall boy of any beer that you sold had about 1.5 inch tall mushroom cap with frozen. I mean, it's like it was too cold to drink.
I didn't drink any beer.
It was too cold to yell. But the crowd, the energy out of the crowd at that Dolphins game, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And I brought you a souvenir. I got you the roster sheet.
By the way, thank you so much.
From that game. I'm always gonna remember the AFC Championship games. I'm always gonna remember that first Cowboys game.
Yeah.
With the chicken fingers. I'm always remember 13 seconds. But that Dolphins game, because I was so disappointed that the Dolphins game went to Germany. And I'd actually kept that weekend open because we didn't know, well, maybe they're going to send the home crew. Because when the Chiefs played in London, Dale went and announced in London.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's like, well, are they going to have a German announcer? I can sprechen Sie Deutsch, Strudel, Lederhosen, out the end of the Germany
scripted,
that
right?
I can
You
get.
can read German off the sheet.
But it was an NFL show, so Alan Roach, who you guys have heard the voice of, he's the public address announcer for the Minnesota Vikings, formerly the Broncos. Also has been doing the Colorado Avalanche pretty much as long as they exist. He's the voice of the Denver airport. I got to meet him at the draft, and he's this giant guy and has this like I don't have a traditional PA announcer voice. I don't feel like I do, at least. It's not the the Westwood one, that guy that's always doing the
Wood one.
Yeah, and it's like that, like 3 octaves lower.
Yeah.
So Alan Roach is kind of revered in my industry, and to go and talk to him, I had heard that's just how he talks all the time. That booming, it's not even baritone, just booming bass
Something
voice.
different.
So I finally go up and talk to him at the draft. They said, "Do you want to meet him?" I said, "I don't want to bother him. He's busy doing stuff." And I go like, "Hey, Mr. Roach, nice to meet you. I'm Nate Herron. I do the PA at Arrowhead. I just got done doing the red carpet." "Oh, thank God! I hated doing that all the time." And that was like another. Like we're this far apart, and I'm like trying not to laugh inside. And I talked to him about Dale Carter, and he thinks I'm talking about the old Chiefs player Dale Carter,
Right.
and I'm like, not that Dale Carter. This is country radio Dale Carter.
Right.
But it's just it's important to make sure that the fans know how impressive the sound that they made in that game. I'll never forget it because of how cold it was.
Oh yeah.
I hope to God there's never a game that cold at Arrowhead
Me
again.
too. Oh my god.
Because on the off chance they move me back to an open booth, like especially being sick, like I have some traditions that I'm not super superstitious, but I am superstitious. I'm not gonna say little stitious. That's why I have this horrible meth Santa Claus beard. I don't have a beard normally.
Yeah.
It's a playoff beard.
It was new when I saw you walk in.
Oh yeah,
Like
my wife hates it. I'm beginning to not like it, but I had one last year.
It works.
I've had them. I'm not going to question it.
It works.
I have some routines I do. I like to go because I feel that the connection between an announcer and the fans is important. I always walk the concourse, usually about an hour and a half before kick, because it takes a long time to get back upstairs.
Yeah.
Especially if Taylor Swift is there and then they shut an elevator down and no one knows what's going on. We've kind of gotten used to that sort of thing.
Right.
Now, by the way, she's way taller than I imagined. I somehow was where I shouldn't have been and saw her walk by, and she's like
somehow
about 6 feet tall. She's like, I'm 6 feet. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
you're really tall.
Yeah.
But, I usually walk the concourse. I usually will go down into the stands on the visitor side, walk through the seats. If I see people taking selfies, like, hey, you want me to take your picture? And it's for me. It's selfish. I like doing that sort of thing, and just it gets me ready to go and makes me feel more connected to what's going on, especially now that we're sitting in a booth that's closed. I didn't do that because I was sick. And I mean, I had a hard enough time getting up and walking to the bathroom.
The game.
I didn't walk around. I didn't go to the tailgate lots. I usually go out and say hi to people, and I didn't do any of that. But I had a Jesse James caught that ball. My tradition has always been I always wear a Steelers t-shirt underneath my Chiefs stuff if they're playing that same day or that same week.
Okay.
It was 100%
It was a catch.
But unless we played them, like, because that was my first year, I got to watch my childhood favorite team get their teeth bashed in twice, and Ben Roethlisberger sent off on his retirement because we had the last home game was Pittsburgh, and then the first playoff game was Pittsburgh, and we just trounced them both games.
Like over 80 points in both those games.
It was something crazy.
It was
something crazy. But I will never forget. You'll never forget. There's going to be, in 10 years, there's going to be roughly 200,000 people that claim that they were at the Dolphins game.
Oh, yeah.
I was sitting here, and I mean, who's going to fact check you?
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't take any pictures, though, because my gloves are too thick. I mean, the excuses are built in.
Oh, yeah.
The ones are there, like, here's the hospital bill from the frostbite, from taking my shirt off.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw a grown man's nipples fall off at one point before the game started.
It was surprising to even see a grown man's nipple out there. It was like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
I think the craziest part for me was the condensation as you're breathing out, collecting on whatever piece of clothing it's grabbing and turning into an icicle. I had to continuously wipe my eyelashes because they were freezing together. And I've just never experienced that in my life before.
Back in Scouts, they taught us how you could tell what the temperature is by how quick your nose hairs freeze when you breathe in. I've forgotten what the metric is. It's pretty close to being legit, though.
It's almost the science.
The thing with Andy's mustache is it was such a cool scene.
Yeah.
But there had to be some boogers in that too.
Oh, yeah.
People want to like blow it up or tattoo it on their body.
The ice was the color of this cup. I mean, there's
a little mucusy.
I mean, that's just the human condition when it's that cold. It could have been 30 degrees warmer, and it might.
No one's gonna blame the guy.
No. But I mean, I think the wind chills. I didn't see an official reading. I know the stuff that the stats that we've got. There's weather veins and up, but I think the wind chill at one point touched 30 below. So I mean, the air temperature, the wind was
it kicked up pretty hard. Yeah.
And then was it drizzling kind of, or was that that was the Bengals game?
There was a little bit right when we arrived because we tailgated. My group did, and we put our 4 tents. We wrapped that thing up. We had
They
3
wouldn't make
gas
guys
heaters.
at Gitmo tailgate before that game. That would be cruel and unusual. Yet there was cars backed up in the lot there at Gate 5.
It was just like almost like a normal game, except no one was outside. Like everyone was in some sort of an enclosure if they were out there. I didn't step foot outside once. It helped because I wasn't drinking, didn't have to make as many trips to the Porta-John, but.
going to the bathroom in those temperatures, breathing, having your eyes open, those are all challenges. And credit to our fans for showing, and credit to the Dolphins fans who were there, who were walking around. There weren't a lot of them.
Wasn't it you that told me you saw some Dolphins fans shopping around Kansas City for some jackets, and it was like, good luck, brother.
This hoodie. No, you need 4 of those.
Yeah, you need 4 of those and a car tarp. And then light one of them on fire, and you should be okay. Did we ever figure out? I remember one of the players saying that someone on the team got a blister from like a heat pack or something
on their feet.
I didn't hear about that.
Now, this is funny. Before the game starts, and I may be talking out of school here, but I mean, sorry, Roger. There were some NFL staff guys. Those heaters they put down on the side, those are basically a jet engine.
Yeah.
They're not, but
Well, if you're starting it in on what looks like a giant dolly or a pallet jack, then you know it's pretty legit.
So Matt McMullen, who does all the Chiefs radio stuff, and he does a great job with all the work that he does. Matt and Mitch were down on the sideline where they always are. They're about the 15-yard line doing their pregame show, and David Kelsey is in our booth getting the whole production set up, and so people that are watching online get the whole feel, and it's a really good production. They didn't go down there until right before it started. So we didn't get any line checks on mics. We didn't get any of this sort of stuff done because about 10 minutes before they came down, 2 of the NFL officials that are in the kind of these weird brownish, orangish parkas sort of thing. They got the NFL logo on them, but they're a definitely unique color that you never accuse them of being, oh, that's a Niners color. That's Panthers blue.
Nonpartisan.
2 of them caught their jackets on fire standing next to the heater. One of them like smoke coming up. Like we saw it happen. We're like, oh my God, it's on fire.
Somebody help that man.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I'm thinking the entire game, I'm like, that was probably the first time he actually was comfortable all day when he was mildly immolated.
Please don't put it out.
Was a photo shoot
nice.
Pink Floyd? So credit to you guys. That was I will always treasure being able to be at that game, even though I didn't feel very good. I mean, it was I had 2 different kinds of inhaler. I mean, I was this close to getting injections.
Oh man,
double lung infection.
You got to worry about pneumonia in that situation.
Well, I had it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Getting over it at that point, and when you can't talk. I mean, I had laryngitis. A week before the Thursday after the Bengals game, I completely lost my voice. And I went to the doctor, and they had me do breathing treatment with a nebulizer. I was dreamed that my first nebulizer experience would be with Willie Nelson, but it wasn't. It was urgent care with my kids.
A little different than
a little different. They put me on drugs, off drugs. I think the only thing that got me through the Bengals game was I was on 60 milligrams of prednisone.
Oh man!
I mean, I was about to roll it up, and that got me over the finish line. But you can't take that much anymore. This they want to flash it out of your system. So here's a little bit. My doctor, we had a whole plan of this is when you take the inhaler, this is when you take the prednisone, this is when you take this. So I mean, there's a lot of preparation beyond just reading the script if your body's fighting you.
Yeah.
But I didn't talk for 72 hours, which you can probably tell is difficult. So I had this text to voice app if I needed to say something that was beyond like yes or no. And the last message I still have saved. It's from my wife. When you're on all these medications, they affect your body differently. For me, they turn my gastrointestinal system into the Indy 500, pretty much. So my last message I still have in the voice is, and it's a woman's voice. I should play it, but I'll just say, hey, just so you know, I coughed so hard in line at Price Chopper, I nearly crapped my pants. And my wife laughed for about 20 minutes. So thankfully, it came back, and I'm still not at 100% at all. But, I was really, really hoping that we were going to be at home on Sunday. But we got the early game, and Baltimore's no joke, you know?
That would have been your third straight AFC.
Third straight,
championship
6
game,
for the
if that was
team,
case.
and
yeah,
it's just it's fun when you have them because it's the biggest stage in sports.
Yeah.
Certainly in North America, I would argue in the world, but I haven't been in Spain when they have all their stuff going on with soccer and whatnot. But it's just I'm optimistic. I believe we're underdogs again.
Oh yeah, yep.
But we were underdogs
bet
against the Eagles.
Yep.
We were underdogs against the Eagles, which is an interesting thing with me because I'm technically like you get onboarded, you have all that stuff. I can't bet on sports of any kind.
I was curious about that.
I'm not allowed by the rule of the NFL.
Employed by the team.
I am not allowed in a physical sports book during the season, so I haven't done it. We went to Vegas when the Chiefs were playing in Germany. My wife and I just like, well, we've got time. I got free rooms, got free flight. Let's just go and we'll go see a show and have a good time. And she went through and wanted to look at some horse races. I'm like, I'm just gonna hang out over here, and I've been okay with it. It's been all right, you know. But there's I'm doing DraftKings reads during the game, so it's just the sports landscape. The media aspect of it, everything is constantly evolving.
Oh yeah,
and it's I'm just glad I'm with this team.
Absolutely.
It's just it's hard to. It's not gonna be this way forever,
right?
And that sucks to even think about. But I think if you're really mature about it, it will then help. Without the bitter, the sweet ain't as sweet. And if you think about the fact that the bitter exists, the sweet will be sweeter.
Yep.
Agreed.
While you're experiencing it. So I don't know. Well, I talked you guys the ears off. I could talk the rest. We could talk about the draft for like an hour and a half, auditioning for the team or anything else. But
let's hear the audition story. Yeah.
I'll leave out some of the. It was the first job I ever auditioned for. Every other gig I've gotten has been just, hey, you were our fill-in. Do you want to be the main guy now? And I'm like, sure. And I've gotten to the point now that I've started to have to turn down some jobs, some nice ones that would have had some cachet and some nice compensation to them. But I teach at Johnson County Community College. I produce a Veterans Affairs show that's internationally syndicated. I got 2 little kids I was staying at home with until they both got into school. Our calendar's full. Which is why I'm here. I had to get away from the house a little bit. And they're like, Excelsior Springs? That's only an hour away. I'll go.
I can kill some time.
No problem.
Beers? Okay.
But my friend Brian Truda held the job before me. He's a program director over at 90.9 The Bridge in Kansas City, which is a great radio station if you want some music without commercials, that sort of thing. And he had some health issues with COVID, and he got to the point where it just wasn't for him. And as his friend, I mean, it hurt me to see someone that I knew he liked doing it, but to see him not feel like he could do it sucked.
Yeah.
He'd asked at one point in time, hey, can you fill in for me for a preseason game and then a home opener? And I said, sure. And I never heard anything back. I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
But middle of that 21 season, Dale Carter had been doing the game. So in the 2020 season, all of Brian's stuff was mostly taped.
Really?
From my understanding. Some of the stuff I have is taped. It's just it makes for the flow of the production of the show a little easier. I don't like taping stuff. I know Mike McCartney, who's the PA announcer for the Royals back when we were working together at Union Broadcasting, he was always, and I'm saying, 3 octaves higher than he does because he has a voice like God, but he's like, never let them tape you because then they can replace you or whatever, something along those lines. So I get an email. I just applied to teach as an adjunct professor at Johnson County Community College and had interviewed with them and got the job basically on the spot. And as I was driving home, I got an email from Brad Young of the Chiefs like, hey, we have an opening for PA announcer. If you're interested in applying, this is on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
The audition's Friday. Go to this link. There's these times you can select. I don't know how many people applied. I know they had a lot.
Yeah.
That they invited to audition. Sure. So the caveat for that was my youngest was a kindergartner, and I had signed up to be an adult chaperone for his class trip to Kaleidoscope. The Children's Museum.
Yeah.
And they just opened a new location.
Go to Kaleidoscope.
Well, I do some fundraisers for them, and I got a big one coming up next month. with them, but excuse me. So I was going to be done there by 11. My audition was at 12:30 or something.
Yeah.
At Arrowhead. It was the first day in 21 that winter where it got really good. It snowed. We're all wearing masks because we're still pretty close to COVID.
Yeah.
I don't get nervous. I get like this kind of focusing anxiety.
Yeah.
I just assume no one's listening to anything I'm saying anyways. So with that in the back of my mind, the psychology of it's much easier.
Yeah.
I turn off all the judgment at that point,
pretty,
and you're just like,
I know they're listening, but you know,
right.
at a surface level, like, they're not listening to you.
Right.
You're fine. I was nervous for this one. I could not sleep the night before, and I got out of bed like at, when you find like I can't sleep, I got to get up. It's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I go down to the kitchen. I almost vomit on our cat. Like he's begging me for food, and I was like,
look out.
So smash cut to going to Kaleidoscope. I'm feeling sick.
Yeah.
Still, and I don't look well either. One of the moms like, are you okay? And we're all wearing masks. And I'm thinking, if you barf here, everyone's going to assume that you are typhoid Nate. And everyone's gotten sick. So it's freezing cold outside. They have a nice little outdoor area at the new Kaleidoscope location. So I'm like, hey kids, you want to go outside? They're like, so we all go outside. Just some cool air helps me.
Same here.
They have an old tractor there, and I'm down hands and knees,
heaving,
just staring at the ground,
really
mouth watering. I'm trying not to be. And I'm like, get a hold of yourself. You've done this before. You'll be fine.
You're a pro. You got this.
Whatever. But I just, it's the NFL. You should be nervous to audition for someone like that.
Oh yeah.
It means you want it.
So, I wanted it very badly.
Yeah.
So I go to the audition. There's like 11 people in the booth. Number one, I couldn't find the gate to get to security. Excuse me. And I finally found the gate. My hand is frozen from holding this bottle of water. I brought my own water with me just in case they didn't have something.
You got to have something.
Yeah.
Preparation.
And the security guy is like, what's your name? It's like Nate Herron. And he's looking. He's like, I don't see your name anywhere here. He's like, are you interviewing for something? I'm like, yeah, I'm interviewing. Well, who are you interviewing with? I said, Brad. Oh, well, good luck. You know the little paper security wristbands they give you?
Yeah.
So he had one in his hand while he's looking for my name. And I said, so I'm here interviewing for a job. And he goes, oh, I'll get you a lucky one. That I see him put the band underneath the table. I can still see it.
Yeah.
And he brings it back up and said, this one's a lucky one. Same damn ribbon.
Dude, I just love Kaleidoscope, man. Leave me alone. Right?
This is an Arrowhead.
Yeah.
This is an Arrowhead. So I've got the thing, and I put it on, and I'm thinking as I walk in, I'm like, well, that was nice of him to try to make that
Yeah.
better.
Edge off a little bit.
So we go in. There's like 11 people in the booth. They introduced me to everybody. I don't remember anyone's name. Heart thumping in my chest. At a certain point, I felt it was an out-of-body experience because the first portion of the audition was an interview. And we talked about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I talked about, words are important to me. How you communicate. If you're an announcer, you're a storyteller. You are trying to get the crowd and sometimes the teams, depending on the sport you're doing, from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. And I remember specifically saying, there's different audiences you're serving. You're serving the fans, you're serving the team itself, and you're serving the sponsors. At that level, if you're paying the amount of money that teams are paying, I said they should hear their names said correctly. And this little gal, curly hair in the back, who hadn't said anything the entire time, and I just automatically assumed hated me because that's kind of my default setting, goes, okay, where are we at right now? And I said, GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. She goes, that's right. And I was like, yeah. But then I said, but I got to be honest with you, I called and asked someone yesterday. I called Steve Serrano from Mix 93.3, who's the DJ at Arrowhead, because Steve and I worked a long time together at the Comets. And I said, is it GEHA or is it GEHA? It's like GEHA. I said, okay, thank you. So I said, listen, they need to know if it's said correctly. And I told them, if you don't know, you have to ask. And when I said that, Rob Alberino, who's the big cheese, I could see this kind of glint in his eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, this guy gets it. He speaks it. You know, you put the job ahead of your own, because I know people who would never ask. They would just guess.
Right.
Sure.
And that's a recipe for disaster. So the whole interview process goes great. There's other instances that were like that where, and he told me after the fact, over a season and a half later, he's like, your interview was so good. When you went down, I was like, this guy's fake. He's going to sound like crap. And I went down. They were gonna put me on the speakers, but there was a tour or something going on, so they didn't. It was only in headphones. I was alone by myself in the booth. They're all up in there. Our scripts are all numbered. You have this program called Show Flow. Different teams run different ways because we never go in order ever at a Chiefs game, because they're so insistent on a quality production that they're not going to put a hug cam after we throw a pick six.
Right. It's got to fit in with the settings within the game.
You know, we want to bring the crowd up when they need to bring them up. We're gonna party when it's time to party. We're gonna swag surf when it's time to swag surf. All of that stuff. So he starts firing stuff at me, and I'm doing these reads, and I'd had a look at him before. I knew kind of what the structure of them was, but he's like, all right, 78. And as I'm reading, he's like, speed it up. And I had to go quicker. So 2023 becomes 2023. And, you know, Kansas City becomes KC, or those little tricks you've learned.
It's like
the rest
type
of the
out an email, cut out as many of those words.
100%. And they're like, slow it down. That's way harder than speeding up. I'll tell you that. And frequently with what I'm doing, we're timing it with a jet that's flying, that's 2 counties over by the time things go. And if it's with television and everything's got to be sequenced, I mean, it is a Sisyphean task almost to get all those things put together. But Kristen and the team there does such a great job. I knock it out of the park. I couldn't have been happier with it.
Yeah.
I go back to the parking lot. I call my wife. She's like, how'd it go? And I said, it was phenomenal. I said, they don't pick me, I'm okay with it, because that's as good as I could have done. Right. And I did a good job. And if they don't pick me, it's because there was someone else's whose style fit what they wanted to do better. Sure. And I get it. And maybe there'll opportunity in the future.
Yeah.
But I said, I'm going to keep, because it went so well, I had a security band on. And I'm like, I dreamt this. This didn't really happen. Like, it's still surreal that I have the job. I'm so happy to have it. I hope that feeling never goes away. But I'm like, I'm not going to take this band off my wrist until I know whether I get the job or not. So that was on a Friday. They told me, we'll call by Wednesday. We've got other people coming in. I think they had 5 or 6 other people that came in and read. I don't know. I haven't asked. And
not important.
So Brad Young says, we'll call you by Wednesday, let you know. Might have you come back in if we need to do some more stuff. Like, hey, whatever you guys need, let me know.
Right.
I'm here at your disposal. So I left that thing on because I thought it was a dream. I would go to sleep. I wake up. Oh my God, it's actually on my wrist. That was real.
Yeah.
Every morning, Monday of that week he calls me at like 3:00. My wife's working from home that day. I go down in the living room. I'm on the phone with him, and he starts going, hey, Nate, we're really glad you came in. It's clear you're passionate about what you do. You sounded great. We loved having you there, but we had some other people come in. At this point, my heart's starting to sink down into my ankles. We had some other people come in, and we decided as a group that we just really need you here for the Cowboys game on Sunday. I'm thinking in my head, you motherfucker. But I'm like, all right, sweet, great. So I mean, I have so many memories like that, and it's just working for the Chiefs has just been a machine that continually pumps out these great memories. And they're not always going to be great.
Yep.
There's going to be some ones that hurt.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be some ones that
I'm sure there's been some
hurt. I got to be honest, there really hasn't. COVID was tough on people because they wanted people masked up, and I had all my shots, but I bought these special masks from this company in the Big Ten country that I could sound a little better through, but they still fit all the microns. And I want to, if the team if my employer asks me to do something, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
but not everyone loves that sort of thing. And there were some difficulties, but I think overall it's just been a great experience. And now that I'm doing stuff with the draft, and I might be doing the red carpet in Detroit. We'll see. I've been in Detroit since the 90s, and it was a much different area than it is now.
Yeah, sure.
It was scary back then, but I've heard it's much nicer.
Cleaned up a little bit there.
Yeah, it could be a good experience too with the way Detroit's playing. If they can really put something together, get the city out there for it.
I hope they can. I don't have anything against the 49ers other than in the back of my mind, a selfish Steelers fan. I don't want the 49ers to tie the Lombardi trophies the Steelers have.
Yeah.
So that really stunk for me when it was Ravens 49ers. I'm like, can I root for an electrical storm? I mean, even though they're in a dome.
Well, then you almost
out. Turns out, I'm like, oh my God, I breathed into existence. I hope no one's actually this kidding.
I guess they'll have to cancel it.
Well, that's the year there wasn't a winner. They gave it to the Canton Bulldogs won that year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's crazy. And even sitting here talking to you guys about this. I mean, I don't do this with the other teams I work for. I've been doing a little more of the broadcast side of the baseball with the Monarchs and the ownership group with that. They just won another championship, so it's where I go. Championships generally follow. So
I'm jealous of Nick because he's got 2 rings on me now with everything the Monarchs have been doing. But that's so awesome for you guys there too. Like I wholeheartedly believe in, on the outside perspective, what the Brandmeyers are doing there with the Monarchs. That's pretty awesome. Seeing that succeed and the fact that it's championships that you're surrounded around, but it's also a revival of sorts with, bringing that brand, the Monarchs, back into the fold, launching women's professional sports with their first stadium. You're going to get that opportunity. Like, those are historic pieces of sports history here in Kansas City, and you're looking at 2 Super Bowls as well. Or a Super Bowl, potentially a second, with what we could do here.
We'll see.
Yep. But pretty awesome, man. Like, just to be connected in all of those different moments in Kansas City sports history, like,
it's electric.
Yeah. It's honestly an honor to even have you on the air.
Well, hey, I'm calling the home opener for Jayhawk softball here next month. It'll be nice and warm in February. I see how that goes. Done some swimming and diving over there. It's there you go. Got a little wiggle to my game.
Well, I know you rep rock chalk a little bit. That's
a little bit, yeah.
Usually those words don't even leave my mouth for any reason at all. So,
well, I got to tell you, as someone who. My happy place is Memorial Stadium in Lawrence. Basketball's fine. I'm happy when the basketball team does well. I'm a football guy. I love football. And when I'm at Memorial, that's when the hairs stand on end. And those goosebump moments are what I live for. And because of that, I think, whether I'm filling in doing a Mavericks game or sporting, even the teams I'm not the main guy for. When I go there, I want people to feel that. I want the connection, that emotion between the team, and getting amped up and getting excited, and getting ready to run through a wall.
Oh yeah.
And I've got a little goosebumps just thinking about it now. That's what gets me going. And to be doing it in historic settings makes it all that much better. But I mean, I do it for. Iowa State versus KU swimming. Same sort of thing. Welcome to the something natatorium. So, it's good. I've taught you guys ears off. We need to talk about the game.
Last week's or the coming up?
The coming up. Last week, no. But I mean, there's so much you could talk about with last week's game. The one stat that really jumped out to me, and I'm not a giant stat head because I'm terrible at math. I'm an English major, but we had 8 plays over 20 yards in the game. Buffalo had 0.
Yep.
I mean, all the talk about Josh Allen, who's a great quarterback, about saving his legs for the playoff. That's what they did.
Yep.
And I mean, Spags, we gave up a lot of stuff. Shallow. We gave a lot of stuff mid, but nothing deep.
Yeah.
And when it was deep, their guys couldn't cover. Snead was his birthday, but he gave him a touchdown. I'm sure that just that really grinded on it. But I mean, the guys had a phenomenal year.
Phenomenal.
But
fantastic.
was there truth to this whole hot water thing in the stadium? Is that
I'd be interested to know. I know Donovan Smith put that out there, put that on the airwaves on Twitter, that they shut it off, and who knows? Maybe he just got to the showers at the very end.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not a brand new stadium. So
No.
you told me that
there's a reason they're building a new one right now.
Yeah. You want to go on a dome? Nah, we're good.
Yeah, right.
No.
Okay, you're insane.
I love getting volunteer snow shovelers to come out to the
Maybe
stadium,
they're worried
dig
about
us
ending
out.
up like Minnesota's dome, busting through the seams at some point with all the snow.
Well, they build them a little stronger. Now, that was inflated. So, I mean, I have faith that our engineers in Kansas City, who seem to design stadiums for all the big teams all over the world,
Right.
could put together a decent design that would put up with the snow. Just pitch the whole thing over and then just leave a quarter mile of land open that way. Don't go there. Why not? Buffalo Avalanche. That's what's going on. So, I just, our defense has played so well, and Spags, his schemes all season, we got guys have been nicked up and they've just been so consistent.
Yeah.
It's scary. And one of the things I do at Arrowhead is the Big Macs for sacks. You get a sack, you get Big Macs. Buy one, get one the next day.
Yeah, right.
What's really funny is last season and then the beginning of this season, I only read who got the first sack of the game. It's almost always Karlaftis. To the point where I will sometimes say George Karlaftis. During the Dolphins game, I said Furious George.
Yes.
Those sorts of things. I'd said Chris Jones for the first time this season, late in the season. I can't remember which game it was. I think it was the Raiders game, maybe. But he never would get the first sack. But, he's played well. But, I mean, all the other guys, Karlaftis is just, he's that Pittsburgh Steeler steel curtain type defender. Seeing him play the way he does makes me super excited. As young as he is, there's so many guys you can point at on the defense that are exciting. And there's, the O-line, I think Noah Gray and even Blake Bell, their production in the season has been unheralded.
I'd love to see Noah get more involved.
He has been as of late. I feel
like he's kind of underutilized in a lot of ways, especially with our wide receiver, struggles that we've had a little bit here and there, whatever the case is with that, whether it was a drop or, all those different pieces that we've kind of gone through and matured throughout the season with. But getting him involved a little bit more early on, I was like, man, we just need 83 to get in there. And I'm loving that. To go back to your point about Karlaftis, he gets a lot of parallels to Tamba Hali with just his relentless motor and how he just never quits on a play. I mean, a lot of his sacks, it's like, that quarterback sitting back there 4 or 5 seconds at that point, and it's because he's not giving up on it, and then finally gets on him. And those are those coverage sacks that you talked about a little bit. And all that's McDuffie and Snead and what they're doing. I'm interested in this game against Baltimore. Baltimore doesn't have that, premier offensive line necessarily. Ronnie Stanley's been having a little bit of injury history here and there. With our defense, there's not a ton that you have to worry about in the passing game against them, other than maybe Zay Flowers, which
Andrews is probably back for this game. Baltimore's going to have a fuller complement of weaponry than they've had in a while. This season. As someone who's watched a lot of AFC North football, that's terrifying for a guy like Lamar. And Lamar is not a quarterback that I feel like you can rattle. You can get him pissed off.
Yeah.
Usually, and he'll yell at his receivers. And when that happens, if you see him frustrated, he gets frustrated different than I've never seen like Joe in Cincinnati get
very
frustrated.
Cool.
But you see Josh Allen. I mean, he's pretty unflappable, but I mean, he can get in his own head.
We saw him throw the ball at Okafor's face.
Lamar's a little different kind of cat, and if they can keep his rushing yardage down, that's the challenge. That's what's so exciting about this product is there's just so much nuance to there's no, every team's got their strength, every team's got their weakness, and we're going to see a great game.
Yep.
Will it match the ratings from Buffalo and Kansas City, which I think set a record for the divisional round?
Yeah, sure.
Average
did.
viewers.
Just over 50 million.
What's funny, the first time that my voice has been on the national broadcast was the 13-second game when we lost to the Bengals. So the Bengals game, Jim Nantz tossed it to me and now PA announcer Nate Herron, which is just
yeah.
Jim Nantz. Hello, friends. Like my friends, are you gonna say that? So everyone tuned in to hear it, and introducing Gerald Wilson, Navy petty officer, who just kills it.
Favorite
every time
singer.
he does it.
Yeah,
and I even got to announce him up on the drum deck this year, which was cool. But that game, they called me the day before and said, "Hey, just so you know, you're gonna be on the broadcast." I was like, "Oh, cool!" Like, cool, Nate. 50 million people are going to be watching that game. They were wrong. There was a giant ice storm on the East Coast. It was like 63 million people were watching that one. So that was AFC Championship.
They were shut in for that.
Yes.
Nothing
else to do. Go to Costco. We got to sit here and
game on.
Yeah, game on. So to be put in those sort of situations is exciting. But just the viewership. People are freaking out. Are they going to put the Super Bowl on pay-per-view? I don't know. What are you going to do about it?
I'm going to watch it.
You're going to pay.
I'm watch it. Are you mad? Yeah. Are you going to pay for it? Probably.
It's like,
I'm going to get my neighbor Steve to get it, and then I'm going to go over to his house.
I think we're going to split it.
Yeah.
They're getting their money either way.
Yeah. They need to bring back the old Super Bowl halftime shows, like the original OG ones, like with Up With People and Harold Channing. And you guys want to feel like you've gone to a dispensary on the Missouri side without actually spending $1 or breaking any laws, regardless of where you're living? Look up the Super Bowl halftime show where they had Indiana Jones. There was like an Indiana Jones halftime show, and I can't remember who the music performers were. And even if I could, if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. If you want it for free, go to YouTube.
Which Super Bowl is it?
Google Indiana Jones Super Bowl halftime show, and you will feel like you've drank a gallon of peyote. I don't even know if peyote comes in liquid form. I'm just guessing at this point. But I love the Super Bowl. It's all exciting. Pro Bowl, I could not care about.
Yeah, same here. But although they did change it up a bit, it is much better than what it was. The Pro Bowl,
I get excited for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The NHL skills competition is kind of cool, but I still remember the old rookie running back for the Patriots back in the day when they used to have the rookie flag football game and they'd play on the beach. And he I can't remember what his name was, but he tore every ligament.
He was
tore his QCL. I'm like, a QCL? I even heard of that.
It was career ending. Who was that guy?
I'll think of it at 3 a.m. and I'll send it to your social media.
Yeah, shoot it over.
But,
no, I mean, what I love that they're bringing back is the skills contests. Although, you wish they weren't doing basically walkthroughs in the last full padded Pro Bowl, because those were like, even just going back to the Sean Taylor hit on the punter, there were some electric moments in those Pro Bowls. And
there's no Pete Rose laying the catcher out in the All-Star game like he had back there, but it's a celebration of the sport, just like the draft is. I mean, the draft was such a cool scene to see. You just like, okay, well, CJ Stroud's going to be the new quarterback for the Panthers. That's what everyone's talked about. The coach is talking about it to people in private. It's leaking out. And then, oh, no, he's not? Oh, okay. Well, we'll see how that winds up. But I don't know. So it should be a good game. I want him to win for many reasons. I hate the Ravens. Yeah, I still am a little conflicted that I forgot that Terrell Suggs was on the
Super Bowl team,
the second Super Bowl team. Yeah. So someone posted a picture of it. I was like, oh, that's right.
Yeah,
it's on there. But I could not have been happier. And shout out to Dale Carter, and I can't remember who put the hit on him, but when Tyreek got blasted.
Oh, it was McDuffie.
McDuffie. Dale said, Trent McDuffie tattooing Tyreek Hill, and that's very rare for our show to kind of get out there and really let it all hang out.
Right.
I mean, in the moment, it was perfect.
You got to give it to Tyreek Hill a little.
I was so disappointed when I went to. I'm like, I want to boo. I've never liked that guy. I didn't like him back in the Big 12 era, because if you get kicked off of the football team at Oklahoma State, you've really screwed up.
You've done something
really screwed up.
Done something.
And when he was on the team, Super Bowl, I was like, okay, well, everyone can grow, everyone can change. But he hasn't really. He's still Tyreek. Tyreek, he's got his money though.
Yep.
So he can wipe the tears with $100 bills while I'm comparing price per ounce on cheese at Price Chopper.
In Cancun too. He doesn't an Arrowhead playing football or anything anymore.
Speaking of Cancun, you were in the stadium for the Dolphins game. 6-ish minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It felt over, like done. Like they were
the exact moment I started walking out of the stadium.
Oh, so you weren't there for swag surf?
So I walk out at 6 minutes, texted the guy who drives our bus, and we're getting notes from the producer here, so we got to wrap here in a sec.
Has he got a life to live?
Yeah, something like that. But we, 6 minutes left, right on the dot, text guy who's driving our bus, and I say, hey, Chris, can we hit the bus pretty soon here? He said, already in the bus, warming it up.
Also, I'm in Raytown.
Oh, yeah. Let me know when you guys are out. I'll come back and pick you up.
Yeah.
But I'm walking out, and right when I hit the parking lot, everyone's banging on the, on the side of the rails, chopping, all that good stuff. Right when I get out, we hear swag surf, and the whole parking lot's just hitting the swag surf and going after it. And
it felt like Miami was 1, 2, 3 Cancun at like the 7-minute mark.
Their body language was totally deflated, and it was done.
Yeah,
and that's how I felt about the Bills on that final drive. They
could have one of us.
they could have stopped us and not let us get that first down, and potentially had an opportunity to do something, but they just after that missed field goal, it was deflation.
Well. We got hopefully 2 more games to go, and then an exciting off season, and I'll be up in St. Joe before we know it, and it'll be another season. And maybe hopefully a defense of the Lombardi Trophy. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Dude,
should make a regular thing of this.
Absolutely.
I'll just tell the same stories each time.
Oh yeah, and
they're fresh.
They'll be just as good to everyone here, I think.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. It was great to have you on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, hey, everyone, appreciate it. Thank you, Nate. We're excited to get you back in Arrowhead here eventually. Hopefully the Chiefs make that leap in the AFC Championship game and go to their second consecutive Super Bowl, fourth in the last 5 years. Do you get a ticket to go? I guess that'll be our last question.
I'm way down the totem pole at that point. We'll see now that the draft sort of stuff comes up. There's so many things to go around surrounding the event in different markets, and the production companies that the NFL hires, they're the ones that hired me as a subcontractor. They have needs for things, and
for sure
they were like, "Hey, you sound good, and you're a nice guy." So I'm like, "Great, that's all I." One of them, it was pleasure to work with such a great human being.
Love that.
That was in. I put that. That was the email I got. I'm like,
I got a screenshot.
She's 100%. I made my wife call me that for about a month. It didn't. I tried to.
Yeah.
Great human being.
No longer using dad. It's great human being.
So, it's a lot of fun, guys.
Appreciate you, Nate. We'll get you on here soon.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Good night, Bryce.